Welcome to the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast with Kyle McEwen and Mark Roberts. I'm Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at RotoKyleNBA. And Mark, you can find on Twitter at Mark F. Roberts. We are from the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast.com. You can find our podcast for downloadable on iTunes, Stitcher. I'm trying desperately to get it on TuneIn, but apparently they don't like my feed or something. So my feed, not my feet. My feet are fine. Anyways, Mark, we're going to finish up.
Website that didn't like your feed.
We
tried that and it didn't work there either. So
true that. So we're going to finish up our Who to Draft With series tonight. We're going to talk about Chris Paul and John Wall, pairing them because their point guard statistics are so similar in many regards. Granted, there is some difference between the two, which is why you take Chris Paul in the middle of the first round, or if you're stuck at the end of the first round, you end up taking John Wall. So, Mark, what is it that these guys do well for us? So what is it that we get out of Chris Paul? What is it that's good that we get out of John Wall?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting when you look at it because you mentioned like in Yahoo drafts and then I think in ESPN drafts it's the same thing. They're not going right by each other. Chris Paul's going a half a round earlier, but from our perspective, where we're looking at just the six positive accounting stats, these two players are almost identical. Like it's really kind of surprising actually how close they are. They're both going to get us between 18 to 19 points a game. They're both going to be between 9.5 and 10 assists. They're both going to give us 1.5 to 2 steals per game. Chris Paul shoots a bit more makes a bit more 3-pointers, but they're still pretty close there. We've got Wall projected for 1.2 threes, and we've got Chris Paul projected for 1.6. Really, the only place and rebounds are about 4.5 per game, so they're almost dead on there. The only place we have a different projection for him is John Wall gets about a half a block a game, and Chris Paul might get 1 block every 10 games or so.
Right. So when you say that they're not that different, you're speaking from the context of like they're not that different because with our punt strategy for head-to-head,
right,
we're not using the percentages. If you looked at what those guys provide as far as percentages-wise, you would see that Chris Paul is better at field goal percentage. Chris Paul is better at free throw percentage. And if you were including turnovers as well, you'd also see that Chris Paul is much better at that. So, I mean,
like historic at not turning the ball over. He's very good for a point guard. And John Wall has a chance to like lead the league in turnovers if Russell Westbrook doesn't beat him to it. So that's really the big difference between the two. John Wall's done better at his shooting. He's not as good as Chris Paul is. But yeah, once we kind of take off those other 3 categories, they're a very, very similar player. And you can get a lot of value, I think, in our punt strategy by going with John Wall.
Yeah, we've got them ranked 7th I'm sorry, that's 9. That's 9 category. I'm looking at the wrong one. So we've got them right next to each other, 8 and 9 in our head-to-head rankings, and John Wall is actually ahead of Chris Paul. So,
which guy would you go with, Kyle?
Oh, I mean, I'm going to go with Chris Paul every time because even though we are using the 6 positive counting categories as what our focus is for this punt strategy, you're still going to take into account that Chris Paul is better at those other categories. So you might as well give yourself the advantage there by taking Chris Paul.
Yeah, I can see that. I'd actually probably recommend taking Wall, I feel like, for a couple of reasons. One is the blocks. It's nice to get a half a block out of your point guard. If these two are in a head-to-head matchup, you might get 4 blocks out of Wall, 2 blocks out of Wall and maybe 0 blocks out of Chris Paul. And, when it comes to blocks, every little bit helps. The other thing I think is probably true here is that we've seen peak Chris Paul from a fantasy perspective. I don't think he's taking a step forward at all. And I feel like John Wall is still at the point in his career where we could see another breakout season. Like we're not predicting this, but I wouldn't be shocked if he had 22 points per game and 11 assists per game at the end of the season. So I feel like that higher ceiling and then the blocks is probably the kicker for me.
And that's a fair argument. I mean, you've already convinced me that it's a lot closer than what I would have what I would have felt. Just kind of my bias is toward Chris Paul because he is better in the percentages and because he's better in turnovers. But when you break it down and you're talking about, well, in head to head, we've already got him one spot above Chris Paul, and then you're speaking to the fact that there is more upside with John Wall. Maybe he shoots a better percentage from the field. Maybe he shoots a better percentage from the line. With Nene not there, Nene's the kind of guy who you dump the ball into, so there's not going to be a ton of assists, probably as many assist opportunities. Now they're going to be spreading it out.
What happened to Nene?
Well, he's coming off the bench.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be used primarily as the backup center. So you've got Chris Humphries, who's been getting a lot of run at power forward. Martell Webster, once he's healthy and good to go, he's going to be getting some minutes there. Jared Dudley, the same thing, should be getting minutes at 4. So you're just having more of a spread out offense that may open up the ability for John Wall to get some more assists as well. So it's a very interesting situation. You can even speak to the fact that with Paul Pierce not being there, maybe that's some extra possessions for John Wall as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely some things to think about. So you're taking Chris Paul, you're taking John Wall somewhere in the middle to the end of your first round of your draft. So if you're going with that,
what are you worried about if you take them? Like, what are you when you pick them? I mean, obviously you're good on assists. Like, they're the 2 best assist guys in the league. What are you worried about though?
You're getting pretty good steals out of both of them too. You're getting 3-pointers. You're getting good rebounding from the guard position, especially from Chris Paul. From John Wall. You're getting good scoring out of Chris Paul, but you're getting a little bit better scoring out of John Wall. What I want is more elite scoring, because these aren't the kind of guys who are going to score 25 points a game for you. So you still need to get a little bit more scoring to combat against the players who are getting drafted earlier in the first round who have more scoring potential. So I'd be looking for a big who gets you blocks and who can potentially be a kind of elite scorer. That would be the first thing I'd be looking to get. But I don't know that you're actually going to have a big just sitting there as a good person to take in the second round. So I might wait and hold off on getting my center until the third round. And I might focus on, with that quick turn with the end of the round, or even from the middle of the round, you're going to have Paul George probably available there. If not Paul George, you can start talking about Gordon Hayward. You can have conversations about guys like Eric Bledsoe, and maybe you're bullish on a big man like Rudy Gobert and you want to go with him, but I wouldn't pair Rudy Gobert with these guys just because I don't think there's enough scoring there between those guys. We got Mark might have dropped out on us, so I'm just going to continue to talk about this. Something that we've kind of hammered home.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you now, so you're back with us.
Hey, sorry about that.
So if you were hearing that, I guess, who would you pair then in the second and third round, or what would you be thinking about primarily with that second pick?
No, I think you're right on the points. I think that's these guys are not, we talk about how points go early in drafts, and these guys are not the elite guys.
So it sounds like Mark's having quite a bit of issues there. So I'm just going to kind of continue with this. So something we've hammered home about the Yahoo drafts is that after the third and fourth round, you start to get into more of the questionable bigs. So it's kind of important, especially when you are you getting into these head-to-head drafts. You've got plenty of assists late in the draft available. You've got Rubio there. You've got Michael Carter-Williams. You've got Dragic falls deeper. He's not an elite assist guy, really. But you've also got Emmanuel Mudiay sitting there deeper, really deep in drafts that you can take in like the 8th, 9th, 10th round sometimes on Yahoo. So there's good potential assist guys late in drafts for Yahoo. So it's, to us, it seems more important within the third or fourth round that you end up getting another big that you want to pair. Mark, you back with us? So he's not able to get in, so we're just going to keep going here. A lot of people love Kyle Lowry. We've talked about him. I'm not as high on him because I think that he's got a lower floor than what a lot of the other top tier guys have. I'm okay pairing Gordon Hayward again, we're talking about head-to-head here, so you're not worried about the percentages. You're looking to really pad all your stats, get as elite as you can in each of these categories. If we're looking for scoring to pair with Chris Paul, John Wall, you're looking at Paul George, potentially Eric Bledsoe. You're looking at Gordon Hayward, potentially Kyle Lowry, and then if you're I would even put Andre Drummond in that. I think he's going to get, believe he had 21 and 15 tonight. I believe he's going to score a lot in that Pistons offense, being the second option on offense there.
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
We're here. We're with you.
Two other guys I would mention, and these are probably John Wall guys, not Chris Paul guys, but they go at the end of the beginning of the first round, I think. Kyrie Irving and Blake Griffin, I think, are both going to have a chance to be in the 22 to 24 point range. And I think they pair nicely with Wall.
And I think my biggest worry about taking Blake Griffin this year is that if I'm not getting a blocks guy, or I guess you could do it with getting these point guards. You could get Blake Griffin in the second round, and then you could get another big who blocks in the third round, and then just try to capitalize on all the assists later.
Yeah, I think that's what I do, especially, like you've already got assists with Wall. So say you go John Wall, Blake Griffin's going to get you 5 assists a game. You don't love his rebounds, you don't love his blocks, but a guy who's going to get 5 assists and 23 to 24 points a game, like that's a good compliment to John Wall.
It is. It's just, I think I have like this aversion to Blake Griffin, because so much in my head-to-head strategy, I'm always thinking about what do they give me that really helps me. And with Blake Griffin, I feel like he's honestly just padding onto stats that I already I'm already going to be good in. Whereas like
who else is going to get that level of scoring?
He doesn't.
I guess you could do Carmelo Anthony if you needed really scoring later, but Blake Griffin and Kyrie Irving, I think, are your last chance to get anybody who's going to be significantly over 20 points a game.
And I think I'm not willing to take. I'm willing to get Kyrie in certain drafts. Like if Kyrie's there and I can get him cheap enough in an auction draft, I'll stash him. But generally, I'm looking to use Kyrie in. Like I better have an IR, and I'm mostly targeting him in my rotisserie drafts because of his percentages. I just think his percentages are so good that for your roto drafts, Kyrie's worth targeting. If you can get him at a decent spot. Most of the time, though, Kyrie just goes so high, and I'm not willing to take that risk, to be honest, in a snake draft. So, and then, Rudy Gay was scoring like 23 points per game for the second half of the season last year once George Karl took over in Sacramento, and he's another guy who would be available probably in the fourth round for you too, to help you get a little bit of extra points. Do you feel? I guess when I think about. You're right. I mean, Blake Griffin's most likely going to score more, but I guess I kind of consider Gordon Hayward, if he takes another step, maybe do you think he could get to 23 points per game, or is that just not the Utah offense?
I think he could definitely get there. I mean, he's their primary ball handler. He's their number one option. They're supposedly playing faster. Now, I don't think it's likely. Like I could definitely see a scenario. I think his over-under is probably 20 points a game. So, but I think Blake Griffin's is probably 22 and a half or 23. So I think you're definitely getting more points out of Blake Griffin. You're probably getting just as many assists out of Blake Griffin. So if you and you're getting more rebounds out of Blake Griffin than Gordon Hayward.
Right, but you're getting probably more blocks and more 3-pointers out of Gordon Hayward.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think they're both going to give you roughly a half a block a game. Gordon Hayward's probably going to give you more steals slightly. He's definitely going to give you more 3-pointers. You're right about that. But I don't think they're that far apart. Like we've got them right next to each other in the rankings. But if I'm targeting scoring, I'm probably going Blake Griffin. I'll make up the 3-pointers later.
Yep, no, and that's fair. I'm the last person who should be arguing against avoiding 3-pointers because I do it all the time. All right, so who do you have on your who are you pairing with Chris Paul? You said you're pairing Blake Griffin?
Yeah, if I can. I think that's a great pairing with either of these guys because I think it's the points. You're probably not going to get Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, so then I'm probably looking at Gordon Hayward because I think he's got the most scoring potential of anybody on that list that you've got up on the screen right now.
And you know what? Let's talk about Jimmy Butler here for a second, because we did an AMA on Reddit today, and you made some just great points on there. And there was a good discussion between several of the commenters on Reddit on our fantasy b-ball. And do you
Nice
mind
plug.
explaining kind of like your whole perspective on Jimmy Butler, just so people understand why we have him projected for like 17 points instead of 20 again this year?
Yeah, no problem. Jimmy Butler, people have been very nice about our projections. Kind of the one place we've gotten a lot of pushback is Jimmy Butler. And for me, the thing with Jimmy Butler is last season historically was an anomaly for Jimmy Butler. He's never done that before. And so if you want to argue that he took a leap, that's fine. I think that there is probably some regression coming. Like he's probably not going to be able to score quite as proficiently as he did last year, or at least that would be a surprising result. The other thing though, and the main thing here, even if you think he's going to be able to get the scoring that he did last year on a per possession basis, he played 39 minutes a game. He led the league in points, or in minutes per game. And that's part of the reason Tom Thibodeau got fired.
But and your point there was that he played 39 minutes a game, and it took him 39 minutes to get to 20 points per game. So It's not like he was doing it at some kind of wonderful per minute rate.
So even if we just take that same rate and bump it down 3 or 4 minutes per game, you put him in the 35 to 36 minute range, that's going to bump him down to like the 17, 18 point category range. And then if you factor in any regression to the mean, you're looking at 15 to 16 points. We've got him right around 17 points. So we believe like that he did take a step forward. I just don't believe the minutes are going to be there for him. And if he's not scoring at an elite level and you got to realize that's not just happening to his points. Like that's happening to all of his stats. They're all going to come down. And so I just don't want to take him at the beginning of the second round, which is where you're having to take him. I think there are going to be some disappointed Jimmy Butler owners.
And the Bulls will probably be running their offense looks faster in the preseason right now. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be more possessions. Right. But you've also got Nikola Mirotic expected to step into a larger role, which means a larger role on offense. Noah's not going to be in the starting lineup. So you've got really just one defense only player in there in Tony Snell, while everybody else is going to be trying to get their buckets. And Derrick Rose is going to be healthy, close to the start of the season. There's nothing wrong with his knees. So A-okay from that perspective. Like there's tons of reasons to legitimately kind of like go and look at the projection and say, yes, 17 points seems reasonable in the ball. But you're probably not going to see much more scoring, and there's a great argument that it's going to go down. So booyah. I was really happy to see the explanation on Reddit. When you broke it down kind of piece by piece, I was like, all right, fair. Because I've argued for more points. And you won.
And it's just funny because there was 2 years ago, Jimmy Butler was like my sleeper. He was the guy that I was telling everybody they needed to draft. And now it's like, apparently I hate Jimmy Butler because I've only got him ranked 35th in our rankings.
Right.
And it's just a factor of like where they're going in drafts. So we don't like or dislike any player. It's just, if he's going in the top 15, I think you're drafting his absolute highest ceiling and maybe above that. Yep. You're not getting any value with that pick.
Holla, holla, holla.
I'd way rather have Gordon Hayward, wouldn't you?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. And now talking about something else too. So when you're picking, I want to talk about Reggie Jackson because Mark, if I really think Reggie Jackson is going to average like 19 points and 9 assists a game with 1.5 3-pointers, if I really think he's going to average that, he becomes like a second round player, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that second round value is what I would say.
Now, I was doing just tons of mock drafts, not to make it sound like that's a hard thing to do, but I was doing tons of mock drafts over on Yahoo the other day, and you cannot get this guy past the 4th round anymore. By pick 45, Reggie Jackson is off the board. And we saw at the beginning of the preseason, Reggie Jackson was ranked 108 on Yahoo. Then he got moved down to like, I think 70 something. Now he's at like 56 or 58 in Yahoo's O rank. Now, if you go look at the ADP, their ADP is over the course of the entire preseason. So they still have Reggie Jackson sitting at like a 77 ADP as of today, or it might've been 72.
Right.
So
you've got to take him earlier, though.
You have to take pretty much in all circumstances, unless you have a pick in the first, like, I mean, for 10-team leagues in the first like 5 picks, unless you have a pick before 45, you have to take Reggie Jackson earlier, like by that point. So for me, there's a lot of times where my third pick would be at around, 28 and 30 or something like that, or around like 36, and I'm taking Reggie Jackson there because I want him in the third round because I think that's the value that he's going to offer. And you're not getting anybody putting up 9 assists and 19 points at that point in the draft who's currently in those O ranks right there. So I still feel like you're getting value on Reggie Jackson, even if you take him with your third pick in Yahoo drafts. Yeah,
I mean, if he gets 19 and 9, he's at the top of the second round as far as value goes.
So I shouldn't feel bad taking him that high then?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we tell people this all the time, right? Like, if you believe in a guy, go get him. That's all fantasy is, right? Like, you pick the guy that you believe in, and then you play out the season, and then you get to tell everybody you were right. So right. Get him whenever you feel like. If you feel like he's going to go in the third round and you love him and you have to have him on your team, pick him in the second round. Who cares if people call you an idiot? Like, if he pans out, that's great. Especially if you know this guy's going to go by this pick and you have to take him super early just because you're at the bookends or something like that, then just take him. Just take him earlier. Just do it. Especially if you think the value is going to be worth it. But anyways. Just to be clear, I don't necessarily think Reggie Jackson's going to be a 19 and 9 guy. I think like 17 and 8 is more reasonable. And that's why we don't have him in the beginning of the first or beginning in the second round. But, I still think fourth round is a good value on that player. Yeah. And I mean, I would love to be able to get him in the fourth round. My biggest concern is, and this will be the last thing I say about it. Sorry for everybody who's sick of hearing about Reggie Jackson, but I was really caught off guard that I wasn't able to get him in the fifth round, because you were able to get him in the fifth round easily. And this whole preseason we've been talking like, oh, how late can you wait? How late can you wait? But you can't anymore. It sucks. Everybody's wised up, and maybe they've been listening to our podcast. It's that dang O rank, man. The O ranks mean so much. Hey, one guy that we kind of passed over already, but is maybe interesting to pair with these point guards is, what about Kevin Love? He has, in past years, shown the ability to score a lot of points. We don't have him projected for a ton of points this season. I don't believe in the Kevin Love situation. I don't. Mm-hmm. He was a certain player on that team last year. I don't think they're 48, I think, in their rankings, if you're looking for him. Thank you. Yeah, 46. So is he going to go back to being? I don't think so, but I mean, it's a possibility, I guess. Usually I can get Nikola Mirotic a pick like a round later. So I just don't even look at Kevin Love. Yep, you convinced me. Okay. So, and I mean, I'm taking Nikola Mirotic in almost every single draft because, as his minutes go, he's going to start at power forward. It's almost like written in stone. And he's already the 27th ranked player for us in head to head. And even in the, the 9 cat and the 8 cat, he drops down a little bit, but the guy is still just he's projected to be so terrific this year, and you can get him at least in the 5th round. It's wonderful. Yeah, I love drafting Mirotic. I had a very disappointing moment yesterday in my auction draft. I had $4 left to spend, and Mirotic hadn't gone yet, and he went for $5. That's brutal. I had $22 left to spend and like 6 spots to fill in my auction yesterday, and he went for $13 because I wasn't going to let him go for that for cheap, Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you got a great value, I think. No, I love taking him. So we're looking at Chris Paul, John Wall, taking those guys in the first round. Sorry for some of the, tangents that were going on, but I just thought it was good to. We've had some people ask about the fact that you guys always talk about the guys you like. Why don't you ever talk about the guys you hate? So
Tried to do the whole Jimmy Butler stuff, and like Mark said, we don't hate him. It's just we don't project him to do as well as other people think that he's going to do. So we got
I'll tell
John.
you what, though, Jimmy Butler has got some like truthers, man. Like anytime I say anything bad about Jimmy Butler, not even bad, just like temper your expectations on Jimmy Butler. I get some mean responses.
Jimmy Butler can melt steel beams.
People love that dude. That's all I'm saying.
No, I like him too. He's fun as hell to watch, but is he going to be, fantasy basketball Jesus? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I say something derogatory about Serge Ibaka, I don't get anything. But if I say something derogatory about Jimmy Butler, like all hell breaks loose.
So we've got, we got John Wall, we got Chris Paul that we're talking about taking them in the first round. We've already kind of decided you're going to target points. I'm going to target. That's the main thing that you need to make sure is that you're getting more points. I want to make sure that in the second or third round, I get a big who provides me blocks. So I'm looking at when going through these rounds, I'm looking at getting, if Paul George is there for me, I'm taking him to pair with either of these guys because I feel like he has the highest upside out of anybody.
And I would probably still take Blake, like he's going to score more points than Paul George.
You would still take Blake Griffin over?
I think so, yeah, with Wall. In a vacuum, I would take Paul George over Blake Griffin every time. Like if they were going to be if it was a deep league and I was picking like 16th, I would take Paul George first. But
can I try to convince you not to take Blake Griffin?
Sure.
3-pointers, pretty much just as good at rebounding, right?
Yeah, close? They're close. I mean, we've got Blake Griffin projected for one more rebound.
You're only going to get like a little under an assist less out of Paul George.
Isn't that crazy that Paul George gets less assists than Blake Griffin? Like, I think that's the sneaky part about Blake Griffin that we don't realize sometimes.
No, it's great. It's great. But like, I don't need assists from my big men most of the time, And I get that
you don't have to get up for your guard if you get it from your big man.
But it's Yahoo, man. There's so many for head-to-head for this punt strategy. If you're not worried about turnovers, if you're not worried about field goal and free throw percentage, there's so many good.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can pick Rudy almost anytime you want.
Yeah, nobody wants Ricky Rubio. It's hilarious. So I mean, I'm looking at Paul George, Gordon Hayward in the second round, and then I'm looking to pair him with Andre Drummond if Drummond's available in the third.
Wait, I want to go back to the Paul George. Convince me that I should take him over Blake Griffin because I love Paul George personally, like just to watch as a basketball player.
Well, it's just that I think it's like I think there's no question for me that with Paul George is option 1A. I mean, he's just option 1 on that Pacers team. Everybody else is just pick up the scraps.
But we've never seen him score in like the mid-20s before. Like even when he was, before he busted his leg.
Paul George didn't do anything crazy like in the playoffs or anything.
In the playoffs. I would take, if you said who scores more points per game, Gordon Hayward or Paul George, I would take Gordon Hayward.
Well, Paul George already scored 21.7 points 2 years ago, and he was on the rise. I mean, the Cat's just now, he's 25. He'll be 25 all year.
Yeah, I'm not sure he gets that, the minutes he was getting there before, the 37 or the 36 even.
Oh, I would say
maybe that's where we're off. I've got him at 35, so I'm not like way, way lower, but I do think that holds down his points a little bit.
I think because of how weak they are at small forward and how weak they are in the front court, I just don't see how they get away with not playing him a sugar ton of minutes.
I hope you're right, because I'm ended up with Paul George in a lot of my leagues, and I do like him a lot. I still don't think, look at like if you went and looked at Blake Griffin's page, I think you'd see a lot more, like a lot higher scoring average.
But it's like, one less rebound, one less assist, or 1.5 less assists per game, potentially only one less assist. There's 4.1 assists per game. 3.
Yeah, I think you're one rebound and one assist more, and then maybe 2 to 3 points per game more.
But you're getting just as many blocks potentially. You're getting 2 steals almost, and you're getting 2 3-pointers. Like, yeah. I just feel.
See, so you're saying you would trade 3-pointers, You want the 3-pointers and steals, and you're going to give me the rebounds, assists, and points. I will take the rebounds, assists, and points if I'm talking about pairing him with John Wall.
And I'm just telling you, I don't think you're actually winning. I don't think you're winning the points. So I'm just giving you one extra rebound and one extra assist. Like, that's not worth it to me.
I will bet you on the points. Blake Griffin has a higher scoring average than Paul George.
Right.
I feel very confident about that.
All right. So the bet is whether or not Mark is crazy, and no. All right, fair enough, dude. We'll have to come up with the
Wait, so none of this if they like miss not total points for the season. Like I'm talking points per game.
That's dude. I mean, fine. You can PayPal me my $5 like right now. So all right. So fine. You're pairing Blake Griffin in the second round. I've got Paul George if I can get him. I've got Gordon Hayward. I'm considering Andre Drummond with my third pick.
Here's a crazy scenario. Okay, so and I think this is plausible. Say we go John Wall, and then I take Blake Griffin and you take Paul George, but kind of as we've illustrated, kind of similar players. Now, what if Gordon Hayward's there in the third round for us? I think you and I both would say, like, if somebody asked for our advice, we'd say, no, you got to take a big guy. But isn't there part of you that would want to like, I just want to take Gordon Hayward? Like, he's right there. He can make up for a lot of the scoring deficiencies. I would be very tempted to take Gordon Hayward.
In Roto, I'd probably be taking Hayward because I want his percentages.
Yeah.
But for head to head, I just don't think I can recommend that because in the fourth or fifth round, like I know, you could take probably Derek Favors somewhere there. You can end up reaching for Karl Anthony Towns, who arguably I think Towns might end up being a better player than Favors, especially in head to head. But you know, I love getting. I look at Mirotic and I kind of feel like he's in the same conversation as guys like Gordon Hayward and Jimmy Butler, and
I don't know if you've listened to this already, but Zach Lowe was talking today, and he said he thought the Bulls should start Mirotic, but he believed that they would start Noah. What do you think about that? Does that change your opinion at all, or do you? I kind of feel like it doesn't change my opinion. I think he can still get to that same minutes threshold we've got him at, even if he's not technically the starter.
You know, that comes with a lot of weight because it comes from Zach Lowe. But was it more? I didn't listen to it, so I don't know if that was just his conjecture or if he was going off of what he's heard. You know,
it seemed to be what he believed that they would do. He was basically saying, in my opinion, they should start Mirotic, but what I think that they will do, based on what I know about the situation, is they will start Noah.
I almost feel like that would be done from maybe just because they want to have this, they want to make sure Jimmy Butler gets his touches that he wants, Rose gets his touches, Pau Gasol gets his touches.
Well, and what better gunner to have off the bench than Mirotic? Like, I don't think that hurts Mirotic's value at all.
I hate the whole, like, start your best 5 guys and figure out a rotation,
Mm-hmm.
But start your best 5 guys, because you don't know on a given night, you don't know who's going to have it going, and why not have all of them out there to be able to figure out who does have it going on a given night? Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope they start Mirotic, and if they do start him, we're going to bump him up in our rankings. But what I'm saying is, even if they don't start him, I don't think we're going to bump him down. Like, I still think he can get those minute levels. I think he can hit his the projections that we've got him for.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's just it. The 28.5 minutes that we have Mirotic projected for, I would expect him to get that off the bench anyways.
Yeah.
Or darn close to it.
Yeah.
So all right.
So wait, in all your mock drafts, where did you see Mirotic going? Is he right? I feel like he's not rising like Reggie Jackson is.
No, you can get Mirotic in like the 5th, 6th, I feel like 7th round. He's deeper down on ESPN. I'm getting Mirotic all the time. He's available,
Yeah. He's very available, and I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I can't I can't like it's stupid how excited I get seeing that 27 number rank next to Miritich in our settings, knowing that we expect him to actually do more than what we've got him projected to do, and then you can get him 2 or 3 rounds later. It's awesome. So, anyways, so you got John Wall, you got Chris Paul. Like we've detailed, I want to get more points. I want to get blocks. So I've got Gordon Hayward, I got Paul George, I got Andre Drummond. Those are the guys I'm targeting second, third round. If Drummond doesn't drop, I might consider taking Reggie Jackson and just kind of maybe focusing on bigs later.
Yeah, I would love to go with a Gordon Hayward and try to either get Jordan Drummond or Nerlens Noel as my third, fourth.
Yep.
If that's possible, I think that's your best case scenario. I would go Wall, John Wall, Blake Griffin, Gordon Hayward, and then one of those 3 guys, Jordan Drummond or Noel, whichever is left.
And we know with Noel being 24th on the O rank at Yahoo now, you're not getting him to drop down to 4th. So you're looking more at the Derek Favors.
And I'm fine with Favors. I would be happy with him there.
Yeah, you could.
I wonder if Jordan's down there. Our ADP says he is. I don't know if that's where he's actually going in drafts or not.
Yeah, DeAndre gets some hype just because he's a cool dude. But he
gets 14 rebounds a game.
Yeah, that helps. I just for me, DeAndre Jordan he's rebounds and blocks, and there's a lot of guys who can give you rebounds and blocks.
Yeah, but nobody else is giving you 14 rebounds.
No, I've been considering taking Pau Gasol in the 4th round in some drafts. Well,
you're convincing me with this Favors and Pau Gasol talk to just go with Gordon, to go points behind Wall. So to go Blake Griffin or Paul George, and then to go Gordon Hayward, and then I'll figure it out later whether it's Favors or whether it's Paul George or Pau Gasol, or if I can get DeAndre Jordan or Hassan Whiteside or somebody else. I'm okay with that.
So, okay. So, and then in the 4th round.
Yeah, and I've already just talked about the 4th, but.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was just kind of double checking to see if there's any other big men that kind of might be in the mix there for us. But I mean, it's mostly Derek Favors is kind of the key.
I think Pau Gasol is a good call too. You
do? Okay, I wasn't sure how big you were on him. I legitimately think that he might hit like half a 3-pointer a game this year. No. He's taken quite a few in the preseason.
No, we got him projected for 1 every 4 games. It's possible. I'm just laughing because literally every report says that whatever player they're talking about has developed a 3-point shot over the
right. And I mean, but that's also because there's also been okay, so maybe I you know what it is I saw those first 2 preseason games out of Pau Gasol where he had jacked 3 3-pointers from beyond the arc, and I'm like, whoa, okay, maybe we can get a half a 3-pointer out of him per game. So, Pau he's had some bad seasons or some very middling seasons, but he comes out last year and he posts 11.8 rebounds for a career high, you know. And he gets you 1.9 blocks for the best block year he's had in damn near a decade. 06-07 was the last time he had over 1.9 blocks per game besides last year. So he just had a heck of a year,
Yeah.
And on limited attempts, he shot 46% from 3. Gangsta. So anyways, so cool. I've usually I'm looking at Pau Gasol more in the rotisserie leagues because of his percentages, though, too.
I even like Tim Duncan.
Oh, yeah.
I think Tim Duncan's going to be close to 2 blocks. I've drafted Tim Duncan in almost every league I've been in because people just aren't excited about drafting him. He's not going to get you the rebounds that Pau Gasol does, so you can probably pick him a little later. But, he's going 43rd. But, yeah, if you need blocks, I think he's a great option.
But Tim Duncan drops.
Yeah,
Tim
he
Duncan.
Does.
His ADP is at 43 because I think he has he's got a pretty good O rank.
Yeah, I don't know that he's so high on ESPN. We're gonna have to pull in the ESPN data soon. I am hoping to do that pretty soon.
Okay. So then in the 5th round, I'm probably looking Miritich is is my favorite
Miritich.
because Reggie Jackson's not getting to you that low. That's who I've been taking. If I'm not taking Miritich, I'm reaching a little bit. I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns potentially. I don't believe that they're not going to give Towns plenty of run to put up good statistics. And if they've been running out. So something that we haven't talked about yet, Zach LaVine lost his starting shooting guard job. So that didn't take long, but
what happened?
He sucks.
Well,
somebody was posting some really rude stuff about him playing point guard too on Twitter tonight, but last night the Timberwolves ended up starting against the Milwaukee Bucks. Andrew Wiggins at shooting guard, Tayshaun Prince at small forward, and Kevin Garnett at power forward. So if you got Tayshaun Prince and Kevin Garnett starting on that Timberwolves team for some reason, the only two people who can score in that starting lineup are Andrew Wiggins and Karl Towns. Like Rubio can't score. Kevin Garnett is not a scorer anymore. He came out and he said, like, dude, I'm just here to play defense. So
yeah, they can't run that lineup for very long. If they want to like tip off with that lineup and then put subs in immediately, that's fine. But
yeah, and Prince,
that's a disaster. I'm
pretty sure Prince got hurt because he only played 4 minutes too. So in the preseason game yesterday. So, but anyways, Zach LaVine, if you picked him up in in any leagues that are standard 10 or 12 team, drop him.
Probably time to move on.
Drip, drip, drop. So yeah, I mean, that's honestly just fifth round. It's Nikola Mirotic, Tyreek Evans. You're not targeting in there anymore because he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. That sucks. That sucks so much because now you've got Tyreek Evans being out for the first 2 months, essentially. You got Drew Holiday on a minutes limit for the first 2 months, but at least Holiday will be playing, so he'll be getting familiar with the team. I think it's very possible they start Holiday. They've done it all preseason.
Yeah, I do too. I love Eric Gordon at this point.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. He's a sneaky good player for assists. He was last year. I think whoever they run out at point guard, I think he'll do a lot of the ball handling duties.
Yeah, exactly. And you might just see them kind of put Eric Gordon out there with, they might just surround him with like Luke Babbitt and.
I mean, the first half of the first few weeks, they're just going to be putting all of their legitimate NBA players out there at once. Like, they're not going to be able to worry about positions. They only have like 4 or 5 actual NBA players at this point. So they're just going to be running them all.
Who are you? Oh, sugar plums. I forgot what I was about to ask. That's really bad. Oh, who are we just talking about? This sounds so dumb. So,
Eric Gordon.
What do you think about Ryan Anderson this year? We haven't really talked about him much.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I think he's healthy, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a legitimate NBA player. They only have so many of those at this point. Like, Ashik is hurt. Like,
Ajinsa's hurt.
Just go down the list. Like, everybody's hurt on that team right now.
Isn't Norris Cole hurt too?
Norris Cole's out like indefinitely, I think. I think it's all hands on deck at this point. If you know how to play basketball in the NBA, like, you're going to get some serious run in New Orleans right now.
Anthony Davis, 30 points a game, first month of the season.
It could happen.
Yeah,
it could happen.
And have you seen any of his 3-point shots, like how he looks when he shoots at all?
I have not seen any of his. You'll have to send me some.
Dude, the smoothness.
You have to go take a shower afterwards after you watch him shoot 3-pointers.
I watch him shoot 3-pointers while I'm in the shower.
Oh no.
No, dude, it's just silky smooth. It's angelic. Mm-hmm. Like, it might have literally come from heaven. That might be his scar or his battle. Like in order to have this gift of this amazing shot anywhere from on the court, you have to have a unibrow. So maybe he's tried to shave it, but it's like one of those things where as soon as he shaves it, it's kind of like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus.
It just goes right back.
Yeah. Drop in those 20-year-old movie references.
Classic movies too, really, like the great movies of our time.
So Mark, do you care if I share? You know what? So I guess we're kind of done talking about who to draft with. I'm going to share. I hung up my drawing.
Oh,
see that?
The video is not clear enough to see anything more than there's a picture on the wall.
There, yeah.
Yep.
There's a picture on the wall. So one of Mark's girls drew a picture for me, and it's I don't know. I just feel touched. And they
Even
also,
though she's never seen your face, I think she did a pretty accurate job of capturing your face in like a stick figure form.
Absolutely. She's anyways, I don't want to share too much, but there's an awesome video of your daughter describing what all of the things on the picture meant, like clouds and this is your boring friend who doesn't have a job.
I told her only the best things about you.
Oh my God.
There's a picture of you two like holding hands, and she told me the reason that she was standing next to you was because there was a rain cloud and you were being her umbrella.
She did draw my head big enough to be able to.
Yeah.
I've got Bobby Portis eyes in the picture. I should really just scan it and put it on here, screen share it. But so thank you so much for that. And you guys included Space Jam, so that was as a DVD. So I just put that on at night and fall asleep to the cartoon voices of Michael Jordan. Cool beans. Mark, anything else that you need to share? Trying to think if there's any other breaking news that came through today.
Nope. Go check out our AMA on Reddit. Kyle already mentioned that, but we answered some questions.
Feel free to throw some questions in there because I'll get the dang message thing that says respond to me. So, and I will respond to everything that comes across in there. Once again, you can
projections. New projections are coming probably tomorrow.
Cool.
Updated projections.
So we'll
updated rankings.
We'll put Zach LaVine down to Poopsville again. I'm guessing.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So thank you for listening to the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast. You can find our work on dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com. If you listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere that you do listen to us, please rate and review the podcast. Subscribe to it as well. That helps a whole bunch. And sorry for the erratic schedule the last few days. We had some, excuses.
It was my fault.
I'm pretty sure it was mostly my fault, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, we love you. If you'd like to donate to the site, you can do that on dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com. I can't reiterate how much the ratings, the reviews just takes a couple seconds. It's huge as far as helping get us high in the rankings on iTunes, because then it gets us on the front page of the sports and recreation podcast, and then people see it. It's free advertising essentially because we're doing good or whatever. Thumbs up, go America. So anyways, we love you. You can find me on Twitter at RotoKyleNBA, and this is
Mark Roberts, and you can find me on Twitter at Mark F. Roberts.
Tight money. We love you guys. Have a good day. Peace.
Bye.